What is up, my fellow adventurers? Well, we're up in Killarney, or sort of. We're parking in Killarney. We're actually going to paddle around Phillip Edward Island for the Canada Day weekend. Looks like they got the spirit. What better way to celebrate Canada Day, am I right? This trip is one my buddy kind of planned. I didn't really look at the map, but... and when he threw it at me, I was like, oh, it looks interesting. I was a little bit hesitant on Georgian Bay because of the big waters, but we'll give it a go. Well, we just encountered our first rattlesnake. If we time the weather right, it could be awesome. And if we time it wrong, it could be not very fun. It's interesting, we just have a wall of fog rolling in. Holy fog. If you don't recognize me, it's because I recently shaved off my beard. It's a whole new man. I'm sure I look a little bit different. Definitely a good island to tour around. Interesting to see the different landscapes as you paddle around. It's like every day is almost a different area. Anyways, after a brief intermission and a probably 3-kilometer walk, we will be on the water and having fun. Now for the walk. That was a fun walk. Really wasn't that bad. I would have rather just started here, but fortunately the parking lot was full for one day of our trip. Good. No one is already tired from the walk. Usually she's the worst in the canoe. Well, in the first bit of it. What?
Paddling by us.
Wasn't bad. Already catching glimpses of some big open water. Ooh, exciting stuff. Looks hazy. Smoke might make it hard to navigate, although it doesn't smell smoky. I always find it eerie when you're staring out into the abyss when you can't see the horizon line. A little bit eerie, a little bit intimidating. We're already starting to circle Phillip Edward Island. Really didn't take long. Loving the pink rocks out here. Already noting that is super cool. And see the familiar face of the pollen. I'm assuming it's the smoke. I mean, like when Castle and I were in Noganosh, it was so hazy, but you couldn't smell smoke. And it was like, you're like, is it the pine pollen? I'm like, it's got to be the smoke. I've never seen pollen like make it this hazy. I'm like, there's no lack of potential campsites.
I know.
Everything looks like a campsite. Water is super clear. I love when you can just see the bottom. Especially when it's like 10 feet down. A couple sandhill cranes making a lot of noise. Never heard them so noisy.
I was like, oh, it'd be fun if we were
Paddle
sitting
slap.
here.
Paddle power. It's a whole new man. Checking one of the first campsite options. Okay. looks like home for the night. There is no lack of campsite spots here. And we picked this one because it looks like there's lots to explore, whereas on the islands that a lot of people seem to be taking, the smaller islands that is, there's not as much to explore. Whereas we could walk for miles. Oh, I know. We even got a little nice doorway into where we're throwing our tent for the night. A little bit of wind protection too. Should be nice. Definitely advise bringing a freestanding tent for this trip because you're going to be dealing with a lot of campsites where it's hard to even get a peg in the ground. So unless you're really confident in setting up a tarp tent, I don't know. I'd probably just bring Old Faithful with me. Firewood or an excellent chair?
It's a table for the cooking.
Would make a nice table. Well, we still got lots of pollen. Remember looking it up after the last video I did from doing no ganache, and couldn't believe all the health benefits from it. Even libido. Just exploring around the campsite since we have so much space to explore and already can't get over the landscape here. It's kind of unreal. Just flowing pink rocks everywhere. Freaking beautiful. I don't know whether to think the smoke makes the view better or worse. Interesting. You can see the hill or something over there, right? It's weird. I woke up this morning and this place is giving me total ocean vibes, reminding me of my time I spent in Mexico and Hawaii on the ocean. I don't know if it's just the sound or the smell. I think it's probably mostly to do with the early morning waves. I mean, on a small lake you don't typically get the sound of the waves happening at like 5:30 in the morning. Usually it's dead calm at that point. I mean, it's not always the case, but you know, the view definitely helps. Gorgeous. Always happy to wake up to this. She's going overboard.
Look at the map or did you go to the gold?
I didn't really look at the map, but
Okay, we'll just go.
I have the map right in front of me.
Yeah, I have it too.
We know the general direction we're going.
Yeah.
Well, there's a big view of the horizon line. Cool. I'm already getting the feeling that you could paddle this route a lot of times and not see the same thing. There's so many cool little islands you weave in and out of. Probably a route it would be hard to get sick of. Nothing like the feeling of having your sweat taste like sunscreen. Yummy.
She is not wearing a hat, she's not wearing sunscreen, but apparently she's in my shadow.
Don't tell her how to live her life.
Yes.
Kind of cool behind me, you can see part of the Lacloche mountain range. I'm pretty sure it is. Last night when we were watching the sunset, you could just barely make out the horizon of the mountain range for all the haze that we have up here. So far this has been a lot better than the other area of Georgian Bay that we paddled. Down near the mouth of the Moon River. There's so many boats down there, and I think here we've maybe seen 3 or 4, mostly at a distance. Not having to deal with wake all the time. I think we literally only caught the wake from 1 boat so far. So hopefully that holds out for the rest of the trip. Lots of dead trees on that island. Interesting. Wonder if it was drought or fire. Kind of just looks like drought. I wonder how they got that big in the first place though. That's what's confusing me. There's some pretty big trees in there. A lot of the rocks through here just look like sand. Still eroded so smooth. It's almost a surreal feeling. Like a Picasso painting. Circling us. Gonna attack. Damn seagulls. Steven or Jason. If you haven't heard of the band Steven Seagulls, go check them out. They do cool covers of mostly 90s rock and metal songs, but more in like a bluegrass feel. I dig it. It's interesting. I feel like the water here is almost like a turquoise color naturally, but right now there's lots of pollen in the water, and it's kind of got like a turquoise, sort of lime green feel in spots, and it's almost like you're paddling in Mountain Dew. I haven't drank Mountain Dew in years. Gross. Paddling through the islands has been super fun. Keep waiting for us to hit a dead end. I almost thought that's what we were in for just now. But I think we found a narrow little passage we can sneak through. No, you're fine. It's interesting, we just have a wall of fog rolling in at us. My buddy just looked at his phone and apparently there's a fog advisory, but I literally just watched an island disappear in front of my eyes. This could be interesting. It's getting closer. Now the island right in front of us is about to disappear into the fog. This is crazy. Navigating's gonna be fun. Everything's just disappearing around us. Oh, it's like early morning fog, but almost in the middle of the day. You can vaguely see the outline of an island, I think. It's wild. Good time. Holy fog. A super eerie feeling the way this fog rolled in. I've definitely never encountered fog like this in the middle of the day. Usually just out in the morning while I'm fishing, which I always love to get out and fish in because the views are spectacular, and as it lifts you get some super cool photos. Looks like they got the spirit. Seems like the fog's working its way out now, leaving as quickly as it came. Back to the beating sun. Ooh, sun. I actually enjoyed the fog. You could feel the temperature just drop like 5 degrees as soon as it rolled in. And now it's back up 5 degrees as soon as it's rolling out. I'm actually finding myself surprised on this trip that there's so much shoreline, but not that many campsites. I mean, like, potential campsites everywhere, but not a lot of ones that people actually use. Cool little narrow section. Feels like there's a current through here pushing against me. Wonder how old that is. We just stopped in this little bay to look at a campsite, and it's completely covered in tadpoles or something else if you have a dirty mind. But I can't believe somebody would take the time to do all this. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of these things all over the bay. The more I look around, the more I see. Woo, that is so slippery.
But can I leverage myself so I don't die?
Woo! It's
Cold?
oh, so good. Even Nona can't do it. She's got 4 legs. Castle's climbing in on all 4, Brain.
Definitely. It works for Nona.
I can't wait till we all have to climb out at the end. Now Ryan's
just
doing
be
the all
careful.
4 method.
See? Nona knows.
I'm cleaning the rock for everyone. So we did end up finding a campsite for the night, eventually. And we're just wandering around, seeing the sights. It's kind of funny out here. You always find fire pits back in the middle of the bush. Like this one. I mean, I know why. It's because the wind can be brutal out here. So there's always secondary fire pits hidden away. God, I love when the blueberries start popping. Now here's a good bush. Just make sure to leave some for the birds. I taught her to eat blueberries off the bushes when she was a little puppy. She just loves them now.
Found some raspberry bushes as well. An easy way to identify raspberry is that they do have the initial 3 leaf and then +2 below, so 5 total. And then if you're really unsure, they have a kind of fuzzy texture, and the underneath of the leaf is quite light, and they've got little hairy bristles on there as well. If there's no actually raspberries on them, you can steep the leaves and make a tea.
Looks like we do have some raspberries starting though.
Yeah. So the tea is really good. I'm not sure about for men, but if you're a woman and you're in the woods and you're having your menstrual cycle, the raspberry leaf tea is a really good tonifier for your uterus, and it helps relieve menstrual cramps as well. So, and it tastes nice.
Who knew? Well, we just encountered our first rattlesnake. That's the first time for me. A little scary because the dog went right towards it. Well, the rattlesnake's definitely still here this morning. Oh, just curled up underneath the rock where he was yesterday. Or she. Not really sure. Made for an interesting night. We're all really scared to come over on this spot. And I had to have Nona on a leash because she was the most worrisome one. But yeah, really didn't bug any of us. At least they have the rattle. We don't have to cover much ground this morning. We got tons of time because of what happened to us yesterday. We just kept pushing and pushing along. Oh well, means our next 2 days are super easy for us. Oh, that's beautiful. There goes everything. Beautiful morning for a paddle. After all the sun yesterday, it's kind of nice to have some overcast going on. I feel like we're all a little bit cooked by the sun yesterday. Almost every one of us has a bit of a sunburn at least. Gonna miss the rattlesnake. He was a good companion. Oh, didn't see that one. So we're starting to head around the east side of Phillip Island at this point. It's interesting, the landscape has just changed completely as soon as we turn the corner. The rocks aren't as windswept and eroded anymore. It just looks like any other lake at this point. It's cool to have the environment change, and then I'm assuming that the backside of the island is probably going to be similar to a river, just a long, narrow channel. I don't know, it might be kind of hard to beat the Georgian Bay side of the island. It was freaking beautiful. Definitely got a little bit more cottagey once we started our way up the east side of the island. Scenery's still nice, not super cottagey. Does make sense. A little bit more protected in here, a little bit more desirable. I mean, if I was going to have a cottage, Georgian Bay seems like an ideal spot for me. Infinite area to explore, basically. Well, we've officially rounded the corner and we're in the narrow section on the back side of Phillip Edward Island. Whole new world again. No lack of rock cliffs back here. There's walls of granite everywhere. Cool stuff. Second day in a row we covered a bit more ground than we planned on. Ended up almost halfway down the backside of the island, and I decided to stop in some of the big open water and try and find a camp, which was not a fun time. There are surprisingly not a lot of campsites out here. We've seen a few. We ducked back in, sort of in the big bay on the backside of the island, and found a little campsite. It's definitely nothing special. We were all a little cooked, so I think almost everyone took a nap. But feeling pretty good right now. Out doing some fishing, catching the last of the sun, and haven't got a damn thing. I have a couple going for my top water, but nothing that's set the hook in it. They want it. I wish I found this campsite before we stop at the other one. This is quite a bit nicer than the campsite we have. Cool little sitting area. Wicked old pine tree to hang out on. One of the more interesting fire pits I've ever seen on a site. Kind of nestled into the bedrock. It's even got a little cavity in the rock that feeds it from below. Pretty genius setup. I'm impressed. And a wicked view of the sunset. Just spectacular. We don't get any view of the sunset at our site. What is up? It's a beautiful morning today. Got a nice sunrise, and I think we're all feeling good today. All recovered from yesterday. Hit the bed pretty early, and we're just gonna try and make it up to where we started on Phillip Edward Island. I think. I'm not sure what the paddle is going to be like today. It's a long, narrow section that we have to do. Apparently there's some pictographs along the way, so we're going to try and keep an eye out for those and hopefully have something to show for the day of paddling. We just had the tarp set up yesterday because the sun was just brutal where we had to set up our tent, so we used it to cast some shade. More than one use for a tarp. They don't only protect you from rain. On the road again. I just can't wait to get on the road again. I'm just paddling with my old friends. I just can't wait to get on the road again. Oh, it's already hot. The taste of sweat and sunscreen. Tastes like camping. We had a passerby stop yesterday and talk to us for a bit out of a sea kayak, and he told us we missed all the best stuff probably when we were going through that fog yesterday. So, I mean, the fog was cool, but missing out a lot of the best sights to see along the route. Maybe not love it so much. When you're hunting for pictographs, you're usually looking for an area where the rocks kind of slight overhang and probably about the height of somebody standing out a canoe, because a lot of times that's typically how they were drawn on the wall. So usually when you're looking for them, you're not looking too high. Seen them in Killarney, seen them in Chikanishing. It's a cool experience. I actually don't know what they use to paint them on the rocks. Can't believe it lasts so long. I'm not even sure what that was. Part of a boat, looked like. It had speakers in it. Somebody might have had a bad time. If at all possible, I like to pick the side of the lake to paddle that has some shade. If you do it enough throughout the day, you're saving yourself a lot of time in the sun, which is key. That sun fries you. As we learned yesterday, we're just in the narrow section again now, so it's pretty easy to stay in the shade and hunt for some pictographs. Any there? I don't see any. Is that one? I think that's a graffiti artist. I can't get over the amount of cool cliffs in this section. I mean, I thought I was going to be a little bit disappointed with the paddle today, that it was going to be lackluster in comparison to our last couple days of paddling, but so far it's not disappointing. Even though we haven't spotted any pictographs yet, there's still a ton of cool things to see. I'm enjoying it. Plus there's a little bit more shade here. That's another nice thing. That was a pretty cool sight. Stop there for just a minute to have a look around, have a snack, a little bit of a break for the butt. Ooh, would have been nice to stay there. I'm kind of partial to having another sight on Georgia Bay for the view. Feel like we didn't get enough of it. Ooh, he's not hooked very well. Back you go, bud. That's a decent cliff. Ooh, would be worth the climb. It looked like there was any sort of way up there. Oh, it's too steep. Just started to notice the La Cloche mountain range starting to peek back in. Must mean we're almost back to where we started. You can just see it barely peeking over the tree line there. I remember thinking it was cool on the first night that when the haze started to die down a little bit, you had a pretty good view of the outline of it. Just looked like the same sort of saddle in the top that we had when we were up in Killarney in the fall there. Right before we climbed up the crack. Definitely a good island to tour around. Interesting to see the different landscapes as you paddle around. It's like every day is almost a different area. The outside of the island is obviously about as close as you're going to get to the ocean in southern Ontario. It's up there at least. And then the eastern side of the island was almost like just being on a decent sized lake. Lots of little interesting islands and stuff like that. Definitely a little bit more cottagey of an area. And then the back side of the island was almost like a big river feel. That was pretty neat, other than the boat traffic, but that's to be expected. One more time around the island.
I think we could do it in record time.
Yeah. Now that we know where we're going, it won't take as long.
You leave the food barrel on the dog, and I'll have the gear, and you go around.
Fortunately, it looks like we're taking the same site as the first night. Everything else was taken. And we don't want to go halfway back down the island to find a site. So we're doing a repeat site. Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Jump, little Cassell. Just thinking, one of the cool things about this area and really anywhere on Georgian Bay that I've ever paddled is the ease of access on the shoreline. I mean, I just decided to go for a stroll down the shoreline, see if I could see anything cool, and I've already been walking for 20 minutes or so, looking at the sights, and still haven't hit a dead end. It's the great thing about it, because the trees haven't really taken hold of a lot of the shoreline. I'm sure it's just too windy for them. So it makes it almost like a little hiking trail. Better than being stranded by thick forests like you are in a lot of lakes and that. Just when you're walking around, watch your step for rattlers. Not sure what those are, but the smell is wonderful. I was in need of a snack. It looks sparse underneath it though, so if the sun comes through that, that's how you get like a spectacular sunset. We're just starting to work our way out. Everybody snuck in a last minute swim before we left.
because it's going to be a bit of a hot paddle out, but yeah, at least it's not long. Oh, excited to get on the road though. I feel like this trip beat me up a little bit with the sun. Most would say we got super lucky with the weather, but I think I could have used a bit of cloud cover. Oh, what a beautiful area though. I would definitely do this trip again. Probably spend more time. Plan on at least 2 nights, maybe 3 nights, just exploring the Georgian Bay side of Phillip Edward Island though. I mean, you could spend weeks in there if you wanted to with all the islands. It's just freaking gorgeous. Still a little upset that we possibly missed the best part of the trip. Surrounded by fog, but yeah, that was a super cool experience. Never had fog roll in like that before, and might be a while before it ever happens to me again, so you know, take those moments and enjoy them. Anyways, get out there for some adventures of your own. They're waiting for you.